Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about the new support items and the changed support items, what they're doing, how good they are, how bad they are, if at all, when you should be building them, why you should be building them, and honestly just why these items are super fun, and just a general overview of the new support items specifically. With all that said, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it because it's a ton of fun and I really just want to get started talking about it already. And to start, we're going to just talk about items that were slightly reworked in support. And first off, we're going to be talking about Amanita Charm. This item is a must buy when this patch drops tomorrow, Tuesday, the 29th. This item is insane and I will go over why. Now, this item gives you 15 of each protection, 300 max health, and 4 health regen. So it's got decent stats on it. But here is the kicker. The new active on it is you create a mushroom that provides a buff stack and heals allied gods within 6.4 meters for 3% HP, every second and a half. It lasts for 4.5 seconds with a 60-second cooldown. It's very low. Each buff stack reduces enemy basic attack and ability damage by 10% before being removed. Ultimate ability damage is reduced by 5% and all stacks are removed. What that means is when you put this mushroom on the ground and people are standing in this AoE and they get these 4 stacks, they now have 40% damage reduction from abilities and auto attacks and 20% damage reductions from ultimates. Now, that damage reduction on the ultimates does go away immediately as soon as an ult hits them. So like if they hit by Kraken, it does do 20% less damage, but then they have none of those stacks anymore. But at the same time, 40% damage mitigation from abilities and auto attacks for 10 seconds. Now, the AoE is not super massive, so it's gonna be rare that they get all 4 of those stacks before a fight happens. So it's gonna be specific scenarios where they get all 4 of those. But you pop this on a fire giant fight, before a firefight, or in just lane with good communication, this item is going to completely change team fights in your favor. This is an absolute must buy on any tank or healer. If you are a support, you need this item. The utility it gives your team is out of this world. We've never had an item like this in support. This is way better than Aura Prots ever were. It is just, all in all, an insanely strong item, and it is a must buy until they nerf it. It is definitely going to get a nerf. The problem is not enough people really got a chance to play it in PTS because nobody's really playing support on PTS, except for like 3 people. But overall, I expect this to get nerfed within like a week. So pick it up. And even when it gets nerfed, I think this item is always going to be viable because of the passive. Having just damage reduction to your team is always good, and you should absolutely pick this up right now. The next item we're going to be talking about is Rod of Asclepius. This is the other item that got reworked for supports. This item gives you 55 intelligence, 225 max health, and 3 health regen. The active on it sends out healing snakes to allied gods within 8.8 meters, so 9 meters, restoring 10% of their health over 10 seconds. This healing counts as healing from an ability. Hold on to that because we're going to talk about it later. The snake is sacrificed if the target has 6 debuffs active, immediately healing for 10% health and applying all non-damage immunities for 1 second. This item has a 35% mana cost and it's a 90-second cooldown. So that's a lot of text. What does that mean? Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. So, when they first talked about this item, I and the rest of the community thought it just meant like 1 person. However, we could not be more wrong. This item actually goes to your entire team if they're within the AoE. So let me just damage these bots a little bit and then change my team. Now, it's a 9-meter radius, so I could use it from like back here and it would still hit them and you still have some range on it. They're going to get healed for 10% of their health over the next 10 seconds unless they get hit by 6 debuffs. Now, what are debuffs? That's slows, that's attack reduction, damage reduction, that's knockups, that's any CC, anything that happens to your teammates that's negative other than just damage. And when they get those 6 debuffs, they are immediately healed for that 10% of their max health. So, for instance, if they're like 2,000 health character, they're going to get healed for 200 plus based on the remaining amount of their health. But that's not even where this item gets insane. What makes this item insane is the second part of the passive. Applying all non-damage immunities for 1 second. That is all crowd control immunities. Slow, knock up, knock back, stun, silence, etc. All non-damage immunities. This is essentially a beads that lasts for 1 second, but when you think about it critically, it's a 10-second beads because they only need it when it procs. And when it procs, it's going to give them the beads. So it is very strong, especially when they have their own beads, because it makes it so that they just don't need to use that because they're going to get hit by this one. Now, the reason I say to hold on to this healing counts as healing from an ability is because they added another item that combos with this insanely well. And that item is Heartwood Charm. This item is a completely new item. 400 max health, 250 max mana, and 10 cooldown, right? So very good stacks on a healer. The passive is your healing abilities have 20% reduced cooldowns, and each cast reduces this item's cooldown by 10 seconds. So every time you use Afro Heal or Raw Heal or Danzaburo 2, this item gets its cooldown reduced by 10 seconds. The active on it is your next non-ultimate healing ability will have no cooldown, but deals 50% reduced damage for a 120-second cooldown. So basically, you pop it, you can use 2 Afro 2s, but the second one just does 50% reduced damage, but it doesn't impact the healing at all. And then every time after that you use your heal, it is going to lower the cooldown. Even if it's an ultimate, it'll lower the cooldown. So like Raw ult will lower the cooldown by 10 seconds. Now, Rod of Asclepius, because it's counted as a healing ability, also lowers the cooldown by 10 seconds. But that's not why this combo is crazy. Rod of Asclepius also doesn't get put on cooldown because it's counted as a healing ability, meaning that if you use Heartwood Charm, then Rod of Asclepius immediately, wait 10 seconds, pop it again, you effectively just gave your team a 20-second beat, right? Because again, the effect is actually 1 second, but it lasts, like it has the ability to proc for 20 seconds because you're using it twice if you space it out properly. That is insane. This item is so good. This combo is insane. Now, the huge drawback is look at your mana bar after you use it, because it's 30% of your mana, 35. So meaning 70% of your mana if you use it twice. That's nothing to like overlook at all. That's a lot of mana, but it's so good. One thing I also want to note about this item is Yamoja doesn't get affected by the cost at all because she has no mana. So Yamoja gets this for free. This item is absolutely insane. It's so cool. It adds so much utility back to the support role. And with it giving intelligence, it also combos really well with some other items that allow you to play more of a utility damage focused support. And now let's go ahead and talk about another one of those items, and that is Daybreak Gavl. This item has very low base stats. It's just 300 max health, but then you also get this passive that gives you 55 strength or 75 intelligence, depending on which stat from items is higher. So if you're a strength character, it'll give you more strength. If you're an intelligence character, it'll give you more intelligence. And it gives you a lot. Don't overlook this. That's a lot of damage. Now, the second passive is for each unique god healed by a healing ability, gain a stack up to 4. Your next ability consumes all the stacks, contribute 10% additional strength and intelligence scaling per stack, so up to 40%. So if you're a hybrid character, this is absolutely broken because you're getting 40% strength and intelligence. So Cupid is going to go nuts with this probably, but it also is just insane on characters that can heal multiple people at once. Like for instance, Raw gets all 4 stacks instantly. If you just pop your heal in a team fight, instantly get all 4 of those stacks. And even if you're playing Raw support, right now you're usually getting like 2 or 3 intelligence items with the new patch. Not right now in current Smite 1, but when this new patch drops, you're going a lot more intelligence items. This is giving you an extra 100 to 200 damage every ability when you proc this with that little intelligence items. If you had a full build, this is closer to like 400. Okay, not 400, probably like 300 if you proc the healing. So this is going to be very sought after in mid as well, but in support too, this just really allows the healer supports to play like a support from like League or Predecessor or even Dota. This just adds a completely new way to play the role, and I could not be more excited because it just changes the game completely. Like you're going to see builds like this from now on, where you have very little protection, but you have lots of intelligence and cooldown. And that's just really cool to me. I think having a character that is super easy to lock down, but they do lots of damage and they do lots of healing is overall good in support. Like, because they're not doing it, they're not one-shotting you. That's not happening. They're just doing like a good 25% of your health, maybe, if they hit everything. but they're also providing utility while that happens. And I think that is very healthy for the game. It's a style of support I've been wanting for a really long time, to play this like backline healer utility character, and it's finally actually viable in the game, and I could not be more excited. And with that said, let's talk about the new item, another new item, Vital Amplifier. This item gives you 20 max health, 3 health regen, and 20% base attack speed. The first passive is you get 30 or 45 strength or intelligence, depending on which stat from items is higher. The second passive is after healing yourself or an allied god with an ability, you gain 10% attack speed and 5% basic attack damage for 6 seconds, stacking 3 times. This item, if you are a character that has a heal and benefits from attack speed at all, is a must buy. In ADC, support, solo, mid, whatever, must buy item. It is going to get nerfed. I don't know when, but it has to. This item alone is giving you 50% attack speed, plus 15% basic attack damage, as well as 30 strength or 45 intelligence, as well as 200 health, as well as 3 health regen. This item is an insane stat stick. It is so fucking good on Cupid support. It is insane. Or raw support, because of how his 2 works. You pop this with Aerosbow and War Flag on Cupid, you have over 3%, like 300% attack speed. So you're hitting 3 autos every second guaranteed with just this item and Cupid's passive and Aerosbow. It's so good. This item is very strong. And again, you build this with these other intelligence items. So like, this is a normal support build, not in this order, but this is going to be what support builds are going to look like if you're playing this like enchanter style support. It is so cool. It adds so much more variety to the game, and it's so interesting because with these changes, it just adds new ways to play characters, and it's just, and the aspects and everything that combined with it, it's just so cool. And we are going to have so much fun in support this patch. I'm telling you guys right now. The next item I want to talk about is Regrowth Striders. This is essentially a better shield of regrowth from Smite 1. This item gives you 40 physical protections, 3 mana regen, and 15 cooldown rate. The first passive is when you heal yourself an ability, you get a burst of movement speed. The second passive is when you gain movement speed, you restore 5% of your health. So this item procs, it's both passives twice, but if you're a character that just has a movement speed buff in their kit at all, you can get that second passive no matter what. So I think this item is going to be an almost must buy on a lot of tanks. It's very strong. Movement speed is always good in MOBAs because the only counter to movement speed is communication, and most people aren't communicating very good. So this item is just going to be very good. Here's an example of what it looks like. As you can see, I'm very fast, and the second passive is restoring my health. So it is going to be very good. Now, other than that, there is one more item I want to talk about for the support role specifically, and that is Contagion. Contagion gives you 500 max health and 8 health regen. The new passive on it is when you are damaged by an enemy basic attack or ability, you apply 1 stack of Contagion to them for 20 seconds. If you basic attack or apply hard crowd control to an enemy with Contagion, consume them to deal 1% of your max health as magical damage per stack in a 4-meter area. If somebody lifesteals 100 health from you, immediately apply 5 stacks to them. So basically, this is the anti-lifesteal item, but also you build this on Apollo aspect every single game. Like, this is just inherently his best item. Apollo aspect, you go this item every game. It is just insane because you want health on him. It makes your 1 do more damage, and this item just synergizes with that so well. But if somebody's life stealing from you, like let's say they life steal 500 health from you, like it's an Anubis or something, you're doing 5% of your max health as magical damage to them. That's a big number in addition to everything else you're doing to them. It's very cool. But you also build this on characters that have heavy CC or have heavy auto attacks. So it's not a must buy on those characters though, like Bologna, Amaterasu, stuff like that, because you also want more attack speed in your builds. It's going to be harder to fit this in unless they have a high lifesteal focused team comp. Then you would probably get this item in those scenarios. So it's a really interesting change. I think this is going to be very good. It's a lot of fun, I'll tell you that right now. And overall I think it's pretty darn good. And then I guess the last thing we can talk about for the support role is the new Leviathan side. This is a very good anti-ADC item, but it's only good on like characters that you can comfortably hit auto attacks on the enemy. So it still has when they hit you with a basic attack, they lose 10% strength. But also when you auto attack them, you gain 6 max health permanently for a 10-second cooldown. But your cooldowns are reduced by half of a second when you take damage from an enemy god, once per ability or base attack. So it's a very good anti-ADC item, but you have to play a character that is in their face or is a backline character that can apply the passive easily. So like Emoja can probably benefit from this pretty well. Ymir can benefit from this super well. I wouldn't necessarily go this item on like Kebri. I guess you could, because Aspect 1 procs it, but I don't know. It's a more of a solo lane focused item, not really a support item, but I do feel inclined to include it. And then after that, the only real other items to talk about in this patch for support are Dwarven Plate got buffed. It now gives you way more protections. Draconic Scale also got buffed. It also gives you more protections. But overall, those are the new support items and what they do. There's other new items in this patch, but I only wanted to talk about the support ones because I'm a support content creator. I really highly encourage you guys to give this patch a try before making a negative opinion on it, because I know a lot of you saw the patch notes and were like, oh, healing's dead, or a lot of you saw the patch notes and were like, oh, you have to go healers now. And that's not the case. It's really a good mix of both. Playing healers feel great, playing non-healers feel great. Overall, the state of the game, in my opinion, is a lot better because of this patch. You know, as we saw from the patch notes, a lot of characters had healing in their kits that you never really thought about, and it just made the game way too safe. You know, like anti-heal was a must-buy every game because every character just had some way to heal themselves. And now, with this change, it just makes playing a healer better because you're adding that healing back. And it also makes just playing characters that have built an anti-heal better, because that's an additional 25% to the existing, like, 75% that everybody basically just got hit by. And I can honestly say that after playing PTS for the last, like, week and a half, that this is the most fun and support I have had in the game in, like, maybe ever. There's just so much flexibility and customization added back to the role that really makes it fun. And also, if you're somebody who doesn't just play support and you like the other roles, they still feel good too. ADC feels great in the next patch, mid feels great in the next patch, jungle feels great in the next patch, and solo also feels great in the next patch. I know people were worried about a tank meta, but I do think that brawlers will be really strong, like characters like Mordred that can heal and do damage. They're going to be pretty strong. But overall, I think everybody in the next patch is just going to be inherently stronger. And just no matter how you like to play the game, you are going to have fun. And that is my 100% honest take after playing the PTS and watching VODs and just testing everything out. I really recommend that before you make an opinion on the patch, to thoroughly test stuff out. Don't just play one game. Don't just play two. Play like 5. And then of those 5 games, try something different every one. And I promise you will find something that just makes you go, damn, this is a lot of fun. And anyway, those are my notes for just the support items, but also just the patch as a whole. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, comment what you want to see next, and subscribe for more awesome support guides and content. And I will see you all later on Wednesday for another SMITE video. Peace out, everybody.